you're one of the faces. You're one of the biggest names from that, influential names.
Mm-hmm.
Was the event that big enough where you're like, I really want to find out who took Pac out or who took Diddy out or Biggie out, or not at all? You're like, nah, listen, life happens. I got to move on. If it's a choice between me finding out other things when I was a kid versus this, I'm going to let, God handle this. This is not my doing.
Yeah, I mean, it's events outside of my control. It's not my crew. And, I'm a spectator like everybody else. It's not my job or my mission to find this stuff out. My friend Kibo tells me and tells the world, and I believe it's some great advice: mind your own business and you live longer. So I've been taking that advice to hopefully stretch out a few more years of my life.
Diddy, you're hearing Diddy everywhere. Okay.
Yeah.
So did you ever have any kind of run-in with Diddy? Did you ever do anything with Diddy? Any projects you worked on with him?
He produced a few records, or had his producers do a few records on my War and Peace album, the Peace Disc. Yeah.
How was he to work with?
It was cool. He gave us great music. We flew out to New York, and I was mainly in the studio with the producer. He had a stable of producers, so I was in the studio with producers, and I think we did some great music. And I really, kind of, lost contact with him and really stopped, dealing with Puffy around 94. Yeah.
Any specific reason?
Yeah, I mean, they was doing their thing, I was doing mine. And, I'm not the partying type. You know what I mean? I ain't never been to a Diddy party. I ain't never really wanted to go. But I don't go to a lot of people parties. That just ain't what I'm in it for. You've been to one, you've been to them all.
Are you surprised at what things are coming out with Diddy at all? Or you're like, you have no idea, it's none of my business, you'll live longer? Is that kind of like the mindset?
I'm surprised. How could you be surprised with anything that happens in hip hop? It's hip hop is the Wild West. So you're gonna have the good, you're gonna have the bad, you're gonna have the ugly.
You think he's being targeted, or some of the stuff he's got, there's credibility on what they're coming after him with the tapes and the feds and raiding his Miami home, his LA home?
I believe he's being targeted.
You believe he's being targeted?
Yeah. I believe, somebody, has the power to pull the trigger to make, this stuff, this domino effect happen.
All right. So you think he's being targeted. So you don't think, Suge said, you can say what you want about Diddy, but Diddy didn't learn to like young boys. He learned it from a man named Clive Davis. He threw Clive Davis in there. It doesn't sound like you're part of that camp. You're part of the camp that you think he's being targeted.
I don't know enough to even be able to be specific on any of this stuff. It's just all speculation. I just know he was cool up until a point, and then this stuff started happening. So I believe somebody, like I said, yo, he's our new guy. We on this year or whatever.
Maybe let me go in a different direction with this. I'm curious because for my own curious nature that I have. So I think it's about a little less than a year ago.
Yeah.
You make a video. Mm-hmm. And I watched the video. I don't even know where you were sitting. It just seemed like you're sitting at a place and you're kind of sharing your frustration. And you posted it on Instagram.
Yeah.
And it goes tens of millions of views, right? And then afterwards, you go and you're like, if mainstream media doesn't want to have me on, I'm going to go and do my own thing, right?
Yeah.
And then you go on Rogan, you go on Tucker, you go all over the place.
Yeah.
Right? You go all over the place and you're kind of talking and you're doing what you're doing.
Hit Bill Maher.
You hit Bill Maher, which was kind of interesting. You've had a Bill Maher situation before where you called him out directly. It wasn't this one.
Yeah.
That was the Bill Maher of, I think, 7 years ago, you guys had a moment. You know which one I'm talking about. The one that you were very cool and you just kind of put him in his place, but in a very respectful way.
Yeah. I called it a teachable moment.
Yeah.
Teachable moment.
Rob, have you seen this or no? If you've not seen this, just see if you can find it. It's actually very entertaining. It's 6 minutes, so we don't need to go through it. I think it's worth for the audience to watch for themselves. But anyways, and I don't know if it's Tucker you're talking to or whoever you're talking to. You said, The View didn't want to have me on. Then you said even Oprah Winfrey didn't want to have me on. You know, when you're trying to promote your big three, you're trying to build your business and all this other stuff. And at that time, some people are like, well, you know, why don't they want to talk to this guy? Why wouldn't they want to talk to him? And then you say, you give him the, you know, maybe it's not, if you were to maybe put a new song a year ago, my visualization would have been, instead of saying fuck the police, maybe the title would have been fuck the mainstream media. Right? Let's just say, if you chose to make a comeback. So at this point of being in this business this long, Hall of Fame, Walk of Fame, you name it, you got all of them, right? Who has the most power in the entertainment industry?
Wow. I mean, it's really hard to say who has the most power. It's some very powerful entities out here, you know. Maybe BlackRock has the most power in Hollywood. Who knows?
You'd say BlackRock. I wouldn't disagree with you there on BlackRock.
Vanguard.
State Street, those guys.
Maybe they have the most power in the entertainment.
You think more than like a Lucian Grange?
Yeah. He's just, you know, he could be fired.
He could be fired.
Yeah.
Leor, even these guys could be fired.
Yes.
Okay, got it. So you're going straight to the top. Who has the most power? So you think there's so much power that if they wanted to not have a guy like you be heard, they would do their best to not have a guy like you be heard?
Yeah. I mean, it's a little too late. I got a lot of records out there. I'm heard.
Right. Cube, do you think it's necessary for the people of power who abuse their power to be exposed, or is it not a fight worth having?
I mean, the truth is always good. The truth is always good for the soul. You know, what's done in the dark will come to light. And, you know, if it's the truth, then it's probably necessary.
You think the entertainment industry is going through a major disruption?
Yeah, man, because the entertainment industry has to deal with artificial intelligence, artificial art, artificial influence, artificial inspiration, artificial, pictures, movies, music.
Cube, what's been your experience this last year of going around talking to guys, and you've spoken openly about a lot of different issues. I mean, you don't go on Tucker Carlson and not get people to say, why would you talk to Tucker? Why would you? I even think you did a live one time with Alex Jones, or maybe you were on like a Twitter X or an X. I don't know what it was. Maybe one was reacting to the other, but I recall seeing something there. So what's been your experience? Is your experience, I want to double down and keep going? Or is your experience, I'm going to back off a little bit and just go about my business?
Well, I just want to, at a certain point, you speak your mind and you're heard, and then, what need to be said has been said. And if you need to keep repeating it, the people obviously is not listening. So politics and all that kind of stuff used to be personal. Religion, people didn't talk about that stuff. Now, People want to know what you are before they even know who you are. So it's become, whack to talk about politics. It's whack. Everybody, especially this time around, everybody know what's at stake. Everybody know who is who. Both guys back and forth. What's to talk about?
For me, when I made my first round of money, you make $1 million, you don't have FU money. You make 10 million, you still don't have FU money. You make a few $100 million, you officially have FU money, right? Where it's kind of like, all right, I don't need to worry about, and then you don't go to the parties like you don't. I'm a married guy, 4 kids, this, in what is today's date, Rob?
I go to the parties when I'm getting paid.
That's a different story, though.
Yeah.
Like you said, you can call me O'Shea if you're paying me. If not, my name is Cube, right?
Yeah.
In 2 days, it's going to be my 15-year anniversary. I've been married, right?
Sweet.
And we take it 1 year at a time.
Yeah.
It's a lot of work that you do it, right? And I was the guy you didn't know who was my girlfriend. And then if you knew, it's because I wanted you to know. I don't need to, me and my girl have a relationship. It's our business. When my wife and I were dating, when all of a sudden they found out, they're like, you guys are together? Yes. For how long? No shit. Yeah. Why don't you tell us? It's not your business. It's a wife. It's who I'm choosing to be with. And the people that I have double dates with, we do what we do. Mm-hmm. And then, plays the role of faith, plays the role of all these other things. And what's your politics, Pat? None of your business what my politics is, where I'm at, right?
Yeah.
And I'm kind of going through that phase. And then you get kids, and you have 4 of them, 12, 10, 8. She's going to turn 2, 3, because our youngest is born on our anniversary date, same day. And then I read one quote that leveled me. Remember your friend told you one quote, if you mind your own business, you're going to live a longer life than if you don't. I read this quote that said, if you think it's foolish to study politics, you'll be governed by fools who do. Mm-hmm. So I read that. I'm like, it's either Socrates or Aristotle, Plato, one of these guys. I'm like, man, I don't want to do this. So we're creating content. Every time we're creating content, my guy Mario, who's been with me 19 years, I'd say, hey, I'm going to make content around business. If I even say anything about politics, stop the video. So we're shooting video at 11 o'clock at night, and our audience mainly is business. We run consulting. We consult for 5,000 businesses, 60-plus countries, but David Consulting. We're doing all this stuff, and, there's a lot of businesses we run. And, hey, Pat, you're talking politics again. Why'd you stop me? Pat, it's politics. Damn, you're right. Stay away from it. So I'm staying away from it. Going back to business. Boom, boom, boom. Going back to business. Boom, boom, boom. Going back to business. You're flirting, right? It's kind of like what's drawing you in. And eventually I'm like, you know what? I'm not going to let the fear of them trying to ruin your life prevent me from speaking about common sense. Because if I don't, my future grandkids are going to look back and say, Grandpa, how come you didn't do anything about it? Look at what happened over here right now. What's this all about? I'm an LA kid, was to live and die in LA. I'm an RBO posse. Don't give me no Bam or weed. We don't smoke that shit. I'm a rapping Forte. I'm a Master Ace. It's the INC ride. It's the ride. I'm a Kid Frost, right? I'm that guy. I'm a 1.8 GPA, regular guy that's not supposed to do anything in his life. There's nothing special about me that I'm, supposed to do. So you give me this life, and then I don't want to use all this you gave me for good. What am I afraid? Am I worried about walking on stage? And that's what I grapple with, right? As an individual myself. Do you ever find yourself grappling with that or not really?
I look at the different ways to connect with the public, right? You could do a podcast like this. I could do my own daily podcast and tell everybody what I'm thinking. Or I can do music. I can do movies. Something I enjoy doing a lot more, and say what I feel in the art. And let the art do what it do. People interpret it the way they want it. And so to me, that's a better place. I don't want to be a politician. I just want to give people good information if I got it. So, I use the art to do that, just like a painter. You paint it, you put it on the wall, and whether people like it or not is their problem. You're gone painting the next painting. Like, every picture you walk by, the artist is not sitting there saying, did you like it? Did you like it? I did this. Did you like it? I did it. The artist is long gone. You don't even know who he is, where he is. Mm-hmm. All you know is you got to deal with what he put on the wall. You can look at it, not look at it. You can love it, you can hate it, but that's your problem. That's something you have to deal with. His job is done. And that's how I like to express myself, through my art. And you either like the song, you don't. You like the movie, you don't. And I'm going to the next.
Yeah, I think it's validated that you're loved, bro. You're not a liked guy. You're a loved guy. Mm. We love you. We don't like you. You know what I'm saying? And I'm talking from a standpoint of a fan. I'm a fan. I mean, we're not buddies. We've never broke bread. This is not like, hey, Cuban are our friends. We've never had dinner together. This is the first time you and I are even interacting. So I'm coming from a place of, we've had both a good life with what we've done, and we're still in the game. You're doing Big Three. You're doing a bunch of other things that you're working on, which is impressive. We'll get to that in a minute. But I think the difference is with the artist is, imagine if they took the brush away from the artist. That's the problem, right? Yeah. What if we get to a point where the artist can't have the brush anymore? And that's what a lot of artists feel like, the entertainment industry has flirted with. And that's the frustrating part. CIA, your first crew, your name was CIA. So CIA, and you've said some stuff about the CIA. Rob, I don't know if you got the clip or not. I don't know which clip this is. We'll play one of these clips if you got it. Is this on Bill, Rob? Okay, play this clip. Maybe your position's changed, but I want to hear your thoughts. Go for it.
Same people who own the labels own the prisons.
Literally the same people?
Literally the same people who own the labels own private prisons. The records that come out are really geared to push people towards that prison industry.
But they didn't make you write those lyrics.
It's not about making somebody write the lyrics. It's about being there as guardrails to make sure certain songs make it through and certain songs don't. Some records are made by committee, meaning record company guys sit around and tell the artists, this is hot, say that, do this. We're going to have this guy write the lyrics. We're going to have that. You have, the record company pushing the narrative, and somewhat, some social engineering going on here to make sure those prisons stay full.
So,
yeah.
How much truth is there behind that?
I think it's a lot of truth. If you really remember, I was talking about the Black Rocks of the world and Vanguards of the world. Look how much they are invested in all these big labels and the prison industry. And, not saying that the CIA is sitting there writing rhymes, but they may have a deal with the labels and to allow certain records to get through. I mean, it's up to the label who they blow up, the whole industry. And so, I've seen records made by a committee when it's not the artist's own thought process. But that happens with a lot of records. A lot of records are, you got producers, you got A&R people, you got people who sit there and say, okay, this sound like it's a hit. This sound like it's going to be great. And so it's not hard to imagine a record label, finding a kid that's talking the hardest and blow him up to the top because they know, some kids may be out there going to listen and, like you said, be influenced to do something because this is their favorite rapper. So, you don't see a lot of happy rappers at the top of the game, do you? No.
You know any of these names, any of these people that the CIA fed them, or somebody wrote the scripts for them, or no? I'm not looking for names. I'm wondering if
I don't know names. You know, it's just companies who, you know, they're not gonna let you put the record out unless they have a say in the production of the music.
I got you. Yeah, I mean, that's kind of like you write a book and they say, hey, you can't be critical of this guy. Take this out.
Yeah.
Or, hey, we got to talk to the lawyers about this line. We don't want to get sued by those guys, like that. You're not saying necessarily to try to get internally to destroy a community like the African-American community.
Well, you know, I mean, I'm not saying that it's not either. You know, I don't know what their plan is. I just know that the same people who own the labels own the prisons. And I believe, and it's a lot of evidence out there, that they make sure that the records that are put out will more than likely have a negative effect on the community and create, a prison industry or a prison community where, you got the men and women in the community going to jail often. So it happens. It's real. It's reality.
Last two things before we wrap up. Friday 4. How is that looking?
Better than it has in the past. You know, there's new leadership up at Warner Brothers, and they see the value in making this movie, but it got to be done in the right way, under the right circumstances. So right now we just working out those circumstances on how this movie is gonna be produced, and make sure that we got a lot of people who are big stars now who want to be in the movie. So we got to make sure we got enough to pay them.
These influencers you're talking about.
Well, no, I mean, Mike Epps is a bigger star.
Yeah.
Cat Williams is a bigger star. Terry Crews is a bigger star.
I got what you're
these guys
saying.
are a lot bigger than they was when we did the first movie. Where
Cat is now.
This was they shot. So we want everybody to be happy and want everybody we can to get back in the movie.